By the mid-2030s, in low-lying cities, infrastructure could be underwater so often that everyday life is disrupted. This isn't about one big disaster. It's about relentless creeping water. Imagine a coastal city where flooding becomes so routine that businesses have to factor tide schedules into their operating hours. Cafes could serve morning coffee only if the streets are dry. Delivery trucks might need to plan routes around submerged intersections. Neighborhoods that were once bustling could fall silent for hours at a time, waiting for the waters to recede. Schools might need to implement flood days alongside snow days, with students logging into online classes when high tides make roads impassable. Hospitals and emergency services could face mounting challenges. Ambulances rerouted, supply deliveries delayed, and vulnerable patients cut off from care for critical hours. City planners could face the monumental task of redesigning entire neighborhoods to be more resilient to frequent inundation. Streets might be elevated, storm drains re-engineered, and new zoning laws introduced to prevent rebuilding in areas that flood year after year. But these are expensive, politically complex changes, and not all cities will have the resources or political will to act quickly enough. And this isn't just a U.S. problem. Coastal cities worldwide, from Bangkok's crowded canals to Lagos's teeming shoreline, from the historic alleys of Venice to the rapidly expanding suburbs of Jakarta, could face similar challenges. Many of these regions already experience flooding on a regular basis. Lunar amplified tides could make it far worse. The global nature of this threat underscores the need for international cooperation and shared solutions. Water doesn't respect political borders, and neither do the tides. But it's not all doom and gloom. This advance warning gives us a crucial window of opportunity to prepare and adapt. Coastal engineers are already exploring innovative solutions like floating infrastructure, entire neighborhoods designed to rise and fall with the tide. Cities like Rotterdam have pioneered amphibious architecture that could be replicated in other flood-prone regions. Enhanced seawalls, engineered with flexible designs that can be heightened over time, are being tested in Japan and the Netherlands. Nature-based defenses are also gaining traction. Restored wetlands and mangrove forests not only absorb storm surges, but also provide vital habitats for fish, birds, and other wildlife. Coral reef restoration projects could help break wave energy before it reaches the shore, protecting communities and ecosystems alike. Some cities are considering managed retreat, strategically relocating people and assets away from the most vulnerable areas. While politically and emotionally difficult, this approach can reduce long-term risk and costs. It requires foresight, strong leadership, and public trust. Technology will play a crucial role in our adaptation efforts. Advanced flood modeling, powered by artificial intelligence and vast climate datasets, can map vulnerability street by street. These models can project not only where flooding will happen, but also how it will evolve over months and years. Early warning systems, linked to smartphone apps and community alert networks, could notify residents of impending high tides with unprecedented accuracy, down to the hour. Imagine an alert that tells you days in advance which routes will be dry, when to move your car, or whether to store valuables above ground level. The economic implications of this looming crisis are staggering. The cost of inaction far outweighs the investment needed for proactive adaptation. According to some estimates, every dollar spent on flood prevention can save up to $7 in disaster recovery costs. That's not just an environmental argument, it's an economic one. This presents both a challenge and an opportunity for governments, businesses, and communities to rethink how we build and live along our coasts. Insurance companies are already reevaluating flood risk, and some have begun withdrawing coverage from high-risk areas. Real estate markets could shift dramatically as buyers factor long-term flood exposure into property decisions. Education and public awareness will be critical in the coming years. Many people remain unaware of how the moon influences our tides, let alone how its orbital cycle could exacerbate flooding. In a world flooded with daily news, this slow, predictable threat risks being ignored until it's too late. Empowering communities with this knowledge can drive support for adaptation measures, influence voting and policy decisions, and encourage individual preparedness. Schools, museums, and even tourism boards could play a role in making lunar tide science part of public consciousness. As we face this lunar amplified threat, it's worth remembering that our relationship with the moon has always been one of fascination and respect. Ancient cultures built entire calendars and navigation systems around its cycles. Fishermen and sailors still rely on tide tables passed down through generations. Now, in the 21st century, we're being reminded of the moon's power in a new and urgent way. The moon's wobble has been part of Earth's natural rhythm for billions of years. But this time, it's dancing with human-driven sea level rise, and that's a combination we never faced before. If the predictions are right, we have less than a decade to prepare. So the real question is, will we adapt in time, or let the tide decide? As we gaze up at that familiar celestial orb, it's no longer just a symbol of romance or exploration. It's a ticking clock, counting down to a future where our coastlines could be reshaped by its cosmic dance. The cycle has already begun, silently and inexorably. Our challenge now is to rise to meet it, with innovation, cooperation, and a renewed respect for the powerful forces that shape our planet. In the end, this lunar-driven flooding threat is a stark reminder of our place in the universe. We're not just inhabitants of Earth. We're participants in a dynamic, interconnected cosmic system. As we've altered our planet's climate, we're now witnessing how those changes interact with ancient celestial rhythms. It's a humbling realization, but also an empowering one. If we can understand and anticipate these cosmic influences, we can learn to work with them rather than against them. The coming decades will test our ingenuity, our resilience, and our ability to come together in the face of a global challenge. But they also offer an opportunity to reimagine our relationship with our coasts, our oceans, and even the moon itself. As the tides rise, so too must our determination to adapt and thrive in this ever-changing world. The question isn't whether the moon will keep its ancient rhythm. It will. The question is whether we can match it with a rhythm of our own, one built on foresight, unity, and respect for the delicate balance that sustains life on this planet. Subscribe to Earth's Climate Clock to explore more hidden rhythms and warning signs in our planet's climate story. The clock is still ticking. Are we ready?